good late morning. The business meeting of the 77th Western Science Fantasy Conference is called to order at 11:34 a.m. on Sunday, July 7th, 2025.
July 6th.
July 6th. July 6th, 2025. I'm Martin Pine. My pronouns are he, him. I am the chair of this year's Westercon business meeting. To my right, your left, is Linda Deneroff. She is the secretary for this year's business meeting. In the back, you have Kayla Allen, who is acting as videographer for this year's Westercon business meeting. I note there are more than 10 people in the room that are members of the Westercon, therefore a quorum is present. I am going to note that there are people standing in the back of the room. To be recognized at this year's meeting, you should stand. If you are not able to stand or will be excessively uncomfortable for you to stand, you should find a piece of paper and hold it and wave it to get my attention. If you are standing in the back of the room, I will not be able to tell that you are trying to get recognition, so I recommend that you sit down if you are not trying to gain recognition. There is a sign-in sheet in the back that's being passed around on the clipboard. If you should sign in so that the secretary can record your attendance. There are also papers in the back of the room. There is the agenda for this meeting, and there are the Westercon bylaws. It would behoove you to have a copy of both of those
Could you get me a copy
papers.
too,
Yep.
Ray?
Yep.
Thanks.
So you can follow along with what we are doing. If you are recognized to speak, and it's for anything more than a very brief point, please come to the front of the room. That's that's kind of the box that's demarcated with the 3 tape lines. This will ensure that everybody can hear you, and it will ensure that you appear on camera. This meeting is being recorded. If you do not want your face, your voice, etc., may appear on YouTube and when the recording is published. Clipped on for what purpose?
Parliamentary pet entry. How should the camera person get your attention?
The camera person has a piece of paper that she is able to wave. So with that, our first item on today's agenda are committee reports. We have one committee, which is the site select, the site selection committee. So is there a site selection report?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And before I do that, in my assistant videographer hat, I want to thank Lisa Hayes for providing the camera equipment and teaching me how to use it after a fashion. And she is not able to attend via other commitments, but she sent me a hint. I'm Kayla Allen. My pronouns are she, her, and many of you know the previous tenant. I would like to thank Westercon, their Westercon business coordinator, Kevin Stanley, for appointing me head of site selection, and for the very great assistance of the deputy administrator, Linda Deneroff, and our uncredited assistant, Martin Pine. There were 37 ballots cast total, and by the way, these results have been provided to the secretary, and they will appear in the minutes. I had sent them to the newsletter. They did not appear yet.
They appeared in the morning newsletter.
Well, they did appear in the morning newsletter. I apologize. I must have missed an issue. Okay, there were 37 ballots cast, one of which had no preference. That means there were 36 ballots with a preference. It needs a majority to elect. A majority of 36 is 19. There were some write-in bids. There were, for Tokyo Disneyland, 8 votes.
Oh, liar.
For Haynes in 2021, 1 vote. For Tonopah, they didn't say whether it was Arizona or Nevada, but 1 vote. For none of the above, 5 votes. And for Santa Clara in 2027, 20 votes.
Good.
So with a majority, I did have the number wrong when I was talking to you earlier. I'm sorry. Yes, but Santa Clara in 2027 received 20 votes, which is a majority of 36 votes, and there was therefore no need for any further counting or redistribution. And as an aside, I would point out, I would say, we did have the same number of votes as voter
Ballots.
papers, not the same number of ballots as papers from people who voted. So there were neither undervotes nor overvotes. We took in $40 more than the number of ballots cast because we also had 2 people who provided $20 each to become supporting members of Westercon, and registration here did not actually have a mechanism for registering them as supporting members. But just letting you know, the current BayCon will get $40 for their accounts when we are done. And that is the conclusion of the site selection report. I don't know if I should stay here.
Thank
or
you.
not.
Thank you. Unless there are there any questions, parliamentary shenanigans for the site selection report? Seeing and hearing none, without objection, the business meeting will thank the site selection administrator and direct them to destroy the ballots.
Oh,
The results, therefore, are official.
Yes.
And I also thank you all for all of you came and talked to me, and I'm really very pleased to have had this opportunity to serve Westercon. Thank you.
Thank you. And yes, and pursuant to our bylaws, that does elect the Westercon 79 to be the Santa Clara 2027 bid.
Mr. Chair, I wanted to ask, is there somebody from Westercon?
That was
Oh, I
the next thing I
apologize.
was going to say.
I apologize, yes.
Is there anybody from the newly stated Westercon 79 that would like to say a few words about their Westercon?
Hi, I'm Robin, next year's chair.
Please.
Yeah.
Yep.
can I get your name?
Yeah. My name is Robin Vasilakos, and I will be next year's chair for BayCon Westercon. And we're super excited to have this wonderful convention together and have a lot of fun together and do the things that we do. And I look forward to being your chair next year.
Thank you. Does anybody have? Does anybody have any questions for next year's?
No, come over here. I
So
need to
this-
see your name. I need to get the spelling.
Does anyone have any questions? Chair recognizes Manialo.
We've now gotten an announcement for next year's Westercon. Does the newly seated Westercon have any announcements to make?
Why don't we let her get done with her badge?
Chair recognizes the person.
Sally Rose Robinson.
Thank you, Sally Rose Robinson.
Do I have to?
You don't have to.
No, there is not an official chair for 2027. However, there will be.
Thank you. Are there any further questions for seated Westercons? Seeing and hearing none, we will conclude site selection business. The next item of business is pending bylaw amendments that were approved by Westercon 76 and have been passed on for ratification this year. The one item is C.1, remove date restriction, move to revise the originally deleted section 1.1, divide into 2 sentences because 2 different thoughts were being expressed in a single sentence. 1.1.1 name, the name of this convention is Westercon, the West Coast Science Fiction Fantasy Conference. 1.1.2 date, it is suggested but not obligatory that Westercon take place during the months of May, June, and or July. Is there a speech in favor of the proposed ratification? Seeing none, yeah.
I will support that.
Okay. Is there a speech against the proposed ratification? Seeing none, are there any other speeches? Cliff Dunn.
Move to call the question.
It doesn't have to.
Without objection, the previous question is ordered. The question occurs upon ratification of bylaw amendment C.1. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. All those opposed, please raise your hand. The motion carries unanimously. That brings us to new business. There was one item of new business submitted in advance. D.1, retire Westercon. Move to repeal the Westercon bylaws, provided that any Westercon selected under the current bylaws at the conclusion of the Westercon where the motion is ratified shall be held, and such Westercon shall be bound by those portions of Article 1 applicable to the convention. Such Westercon shall not conduct a business meeting or a site selection. Does one of the proposers want to speak to the amendment? Chair recommends Kayla Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There are few people in this room who have more of a love of and concern about Westercon than me and my brother Kevin. I don't think anybody would be able to deny that. However, I and my co-sponsor believe that Westercon's time has come and passed. It has been increasingly difficult to get anyone to even bid to hold the convention. This is the first time in, I believe, 3 years that there's been a filed bid that could make the ballot. We have had at least 2 Westercons that completely defaulted and had to be held in conjunction with WasCon because the owner of the service mark, WASFUS, used the emergency provisions to make arrangements. I'm aware that many people here, most of you here, may well wish the convention would continue. It's not, continuing has nothing to do with availability of sites or even of money. After all, we held a Westercon in Tonopah, Nevada with a 4-figure budget. What is missing are people points. There is nobody coming forward to bid. And if nobody bids, then we end up having to continuously scamper around at the business meeting and then probably say, if we don't have any ideas, WASFUS, do something. I believe that under these circumstances, the convention is no longer really viable. And as a courtesy to its memory and its history of almost 80 years of being held, that the right thing to do is to plan for an orderly shutdown and retirement of the convention. Should this motion pass, it would be up for ratification at next year's Westercon. Should it be ratified, there would still be probably two, well, we know there'd be one, at least there's already one seated Westercon for what would be Westercon 79, and there would probably be a Westercon 80 after that, and Westercon 80 would be the last Westercon. Now, I cannot speak for WASFUS or any other organization, but personally, I think that the thing to do would be to ask WASFUS to host Westercon 80. Those of you familiar with the history of this convention know that in 1948, WASFUS founded this convention. Would it not be appropriate to ask them if they could hold the retirement party and have the last one as well? I don't really want to see Westercon end. I know many of you don't either. But who's going to hold it? And would it not be better to go ahead and plan for a retirement party than to just have the convention fizzle out due to utter lack of interest? And therefore, I ask you all to vote in favor of this, not because you dislike Westercon, but because you respect it. Thank you.
Does this motion need a second?
The motion is 2 proposers and therefore it does not require any additional
Thank
second. Thank you. That was a speech in favor. Is there a speech against? Seeing none, are there,
I will give a minor one.
sure. Members recognized?
Lisa Deutsch Harrigan, I was the chairman of Westercon 40. I just really interceded. That worked so hard. Just wanted to put that on the record.
Thank you. Is there a speech in favor?
What I'm finding is that,
Name.
Linda Robinette, that BayCon is a similar type of convention. We have the same events going on here. We have movies being shown, we have a masquerade, we had even a variety show, so we had a few different things. So at least if and when Westercon leaves, there are a nice general convention of about the same size available in California. I would love to see Westercon continue also. It's one of the first science fiction, I probably went to LosCon first, but first general, largish general science fiction conventions I ever went to. But I have observed the same thing, and sadly, I think a wonderful total bid was actually opposed by another bid in Phoenix, but they never showed up again when they had another chance to bid. So we are having that problem of having people bid on this thing. So unfortunately, I'll have to reluctantly vote yes on it.
Thank you. Is there a speech against?
Look done. Kim? Yes? Okay. Start with the charades there. Until the last 6 or 7 months, I would have said, let it go at this point because of where we are. With some of the stuff surrounding Worldcon and with the overlap with the business meeting fandom that I have noticed here, I would honestly like to see it continue, even if it is simply a scheduled as a smoffish first virtual business meeting party so that we're all together. I think there is actually a constituency for that, given that I think about a quarter to a fifth of the business meeting attendees are physically present here this weekend. Now, that might require us, playing Chase the Business meeting and require changing dates, which we had to change the rules to make a little bit easier on folks. But I think that is actually a decent purpose for this module, if you will, to move around and remain in existence. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was a speech. A speech against. Is there a speech in favor? Okay.
Ben Yellow, him. Looking around the room, although I don't have to look around the room, I know that I've been to more Westercons than anybody else. This is 50 years that I've been going to Westercon, and nobody else is close. The only person who's close is Jordan Brown, and he's not here. Westercon has played an important role for decades. The 2,000-person Westercons were a gathering of all of West Coast fandom and were a marvelous thing. But that isn't where we are now. Westercon served a vital purpose when it was formed because there weren't a lot of conventions on the West Coast. In fact, many of the conventions in the Northwest, for example, were founded after people saw the brilliant success of the first Vancouver Westercon in '77.
Yeah, right.
Good convention, don't get me wrong. That was a really good convention. There are now other conventions on the West Coast. There are now lots of other alternatives. we've seen them grow, we've seen them reach their success. And Westercon's need has faded. We have other regional conventions that are still going, something like a Deep South Con. But what keeps Deep South Con going is that there is a strong regional identity among Southern fandom. And the West Coast never developed quite that strong a regional identity. So we talk about being an LA fan or a Portland fan or something like that. We don't think of ourselves as West Coast fans the way Southern fans think of themselves as Southern fans, and that keeps the South going. We don't have that kind of identity, and that makes it hard to keep a convention going when there are so many other alternatives for people to go to, and Westercon doesn't serve the gathering of the people who have that same regional identity,
Yeah.
because we don't have that regional identity flavor. I hate to see Westercon go. As I say, I've been going longer than anybody else in this room.
I might.
The member is not recognized.
And I haven't missed a Westercon in all of that time. Basically, I wish it were otherwise, but I think the time has come. Thank you.
That was a speech in favor. Is there a speech against? Seeing none, are there additional speeches in favor?
My name is Michael Salady, he, him. I chaired Westercon 60. I've chaired numerous BayCons. We founded BayCon because we loved working on Westercon. And I think that was a great thing at that date and time. Ben is correct, he's been to more Westercons than I have, but I think I started in 1972. So I've been to a few over time. I think with the explosion of dedicated conventions and regional West Coast conventions like LostCon, BayCon, NorWestCon, and others, I think we have enough to carry it forward. The fact that we cannot seem to inspire people to bid independently on a Westercon says that I believe its time has passed. And I would encourage a yes vote on this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. That was a speech in favor. Are there any speeches against?
Jim Manning. I've attended a number of Westercons, not nearly as many as Ben and most of the other people in this room. One thing that I saw as a niche that Westercon has been fulfilling or was fulfilling is encouraging people to be aware of science fiction, and through the website developing what's people's awareness and giving information. Over the last 10 years, one thing I've been seeing increasingly is that the website, the outreach, which to me is one of the most important parts of these conventions, not just Westercon, but has been dwindling. This particular convention didn't get the website put up until this week. As a person who comes over 2,000 miles one way, that becomes a problem because I don't have the information I need. Last year's convention I did not attend, primarily because there wasn't enough outreach from the convention to even the members of the committee for them to be confident that the convention could happen. And so that is an aspect that I believe, regardless of whether we continue Westercon, we need to strongly encourage that the website be structured and completed at least a month before the convention, so people that are on the edge, people have confidence that the convention can happen.
Thank you. Are there additional speeches in favor? Are there any additional speeches on either side of this motion? Seeing none, all debate having lapsed, the question occurs on first passage of D.1, retire Westercon. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Thank you. Could all those opposed please raise your hand? The motion carries by many to 4. Is there any other new business that anybody would like to present to the business meeting? Seeing and hearing none?
I would like to propose something.
Sure. Come up.
Hi, Lisa Harrigan, Chairman of Westercon 40. I would like to see the website continue for historical reasons, even if we can't keep the con going.
Is that a motion?
If that is a motion, I'll second it.
Yeah, I move that we keep the website going.
So can I suggest that it be proposed as a resolution of the Westercon business meeting that resolved that is the sense of the business meeting that the Westercon website be continued despite the lapse of despite the ending of the convention.
Potential.
The
Potential.
potential ending of the convention. I'm also actually going to propose that it might be better to workshop the resolution text and bring this to next year's business meeting. Where we
Yeah, well, since this was just brought up, that's
Yeah.
why.
Well, we have the westercon.org website. Taylor, is there any reason we can't continue to maintain it as an historical record?
Will the main speaker yield for a response to the implicit question there?
Yes.
I'm not you.
Yeah.
It's,
Will you yield to let them answer?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, the Westercon.org website is actually hosted by sfsfc.org, not by LOSFUS. LOSFUS owns I'm not even sure if they own the domain name at the moment. They own the service mark. And SFSFC, the parent nonprofit corporation of several past Westercons and also Worldcons, has been paying the hosting fees and I think the domain registration, and has been cooperating with LOSFUS regarding the service mark. And I think it extremely likely, especially as two of the directors of the corporation are standing up here,
And I'm the treasurer.
and my brother is the secretary. So I think it very likely that SFSFC, as long as it exists and has resources, which it does, that we would keep the website alive as a historical document. I know that I personally, as one of the people who does that maintenance, would like to see that happen. And I would suggest that this matter be postponed until next year. We're not going to postpone it, but I suggest withdrawing this motion and we'll come up with wording for next year.
Thank you.
I'm in agreement with that.
Okay, I believe that I did not ask for a second, therefore I'm treating them. So, while I think somebody attempted to second it,
Yes.
the table had not had not in fact gotten the motion in a place where it could be stated for a second. Therefore I'm treating the motion as that it had not been seconded, and therefore it is in order for the proposer to withdraw it for potential consideration and freezing next year.
I do have a motion to make, but only after we withdraw this.
So,
Okay.
okay?
But I wanted to get that out
Yes,
there.
I would suggest that this would be appropriate as a resolution to bring to next year's business meeting, if the authors so proposed. Cliff?
Chair. I wish to move
Over here.
I apologize. I wish to move, Cliff Dunn, me, him, I wish to move the creation of a committee to propose resolutions to next year's Westercon business meeting in conjunction with the potential wrap-up.
Second.
Motion is seconded. Would you like to speak to your motion?
Yes. Mr. Chair, I move this because we have at least one item that we want, that has already been attempted to be moved that should be workshopped, and there may be other things we may wish to ask in conjunction with the closure. And I think having a committee of people who are interested in this, workshopping those ideas so that we aren't trying to pack something like this through at what will be our last business meeting, where we would be unable to postpone it further for obvious reasons, would probably be a wise move.
Thank you. Is the member volunteering to chair that committee?
Yes.
Thank you. Is there a speech against? Seeing none, are there additional speeches in favor? Yes, sir.
Isadora Harrigan, she, her, in case you couldn't tell. Yes, sounds like a real smart idea. Thank you.
Because that may not be the only thing.
Yeah, that,
You know,
The members are not recognized. Liz has the
Being
floor.
able to do it online and just being able to communicate and get this stuff straightened out makes sense to me too.
I'm going to see first. Okay. Are there further speeches on any side of the motion? Seeing none, is there objection to forming this committee? Seeing and hearing none, the committee is formed. I'm appointing Cliff to be the chair. I'm appointing Kayla as a member. I'm also appointing Lisa as a member. I'm also going to say that additional members may be named by Cliff.
hey, Martin.
Yes. Talk to him so that we can create a sign-up sheet. We can create a sign-up sheet after the meeting to collect expressions of interest. Yes, we will. But are there any further items of new business that anyone wants to bring before the Westercon business meeting? Seeing and hearing none, the Westercon 77 business meeting is adjourned at 12:07 p.m. Thank you, everyone who attended.
And we're on to the section of through hall.